Stiaan de Wet, Head of Financial Planning at financial advisory firm NMG Benefits. And he says that having an honest conversation with your financial advisor isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Stiaan, good evening. Welcome to UFM.
Good evening, Pat.
You're the man that's going to help us. We're wrapping up, Financial Literacy Month, and the 10 critical questions that one should be asking their financial advisor. Where do we start?
But I think the thing that's very, very important is, we always joke about it and say if you sit in front of a doctor and he got 50% and his final marks as qualifying for a doctor, you have a 50% chance that he'll give you a proper diagnosis. So, and the same with our finances. I think that's important is to go and say, if you talk to a financial advisor and you have a financial advisor, there's certain questions that you're allowed to ask because you're dealing with your financial future.
Yeah.
And we know the importance. They say money isn't everything, but it's very close to oxygen. So it's important that we make sure that we get the right team around us to help us.
Yeah. So where do I start? And I get that some of us, we get intimidated because we're looking for advice and we end up just receiving information and not asking. But what are the critical questions that one can ask?
So I think the first question to start with is the question of what is your definition of financial success and what's important to you, and that individual that helps you must guide you, not just self-impose their opinions of what they think they want to do, but actually have a conversation, a heart-to-heart conversation. And we say people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And you need to trust that individual implicitly because it's helping you into your financial future, into your retirement planning. So that's step one. Then step two, which I think is very, very important, is making sure that individual talk to you not just about products, but about your budget, your personal circumstances, looking holistically, and even helping you get out of debt. It's no use you go into savings products and stuff like that, but you spend 24% interest on paying off credit card loans. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And then there's the issue of, what happens when I'm no longer on this earth. Is that a fair question to be asking my financial advisor? I think it is.
Absolutely. Your will is probably the most important document you will ever sign in your life. Even more important than a marriage contract, because that contract, that will actually helps you make life easy for those of you that are left behind, for your family and your friends. And we know the recent stats of 5 out of 6 people at the Marshal of the High Court in Pretoria that estates were registered, wills weren't executable. So life is very difficult for your beneficiaries if you do not have a proper will that reads to your estate plan and your wishes, not just a document signer, but actually a well thought through document.
We're in conversation with Stiaan de Wet. He's the head of financial planning at financial advisory firm NMG Benefits, and he's helping us through, questions to ask our financial advisor. Do not be intimidated. It's not a one-way discussion. You should be able to ask questions. Stiaan has helped us with 3 questions. Let's get to number 4, Stiaan.
Fourth question is, what fees am I paying on my investments? If the lower your fees on your investments are going into retirement, the more money you put in your pocket. To give you an indication, if you talk about an investment with what we call a EAC, a 4% versus a 2%, which is a 2% growth on your portfolio, more than you can have, that can equate to 30% more money in retirement. That's a lot of money. That's a lot. It means instead of getting 20,000 Rand a month in retirement, you can get 30,000 Rand a month in retirement.
Only if you ask.
Only if you ask. But also you can scrutinize and say, because there are old generation products that advisors should not look at advising their clients to, and new generation products, the fees came down because of the competitive nature of the environment we're in.
Number 5.
Number 5 is if you look at life insurance, it's very difficult or very unwise to be penny wise, pound foolish. Yes, premiums are different, and you need to go and say, my life insurance, is it for the long term or the short term? There's different premium patterns. And if you go only for the cheapest, now you might shoot yourself in the foot. But again, that comes back to point number one, looking at a holistic plan and when you need insurance and for how long you need life insurance.
You know, this discussion on life insurance, Tian, one that I regret. I should have taken one when I was a lot younger. Yeah, it's one of those advices that, we need to talk a lot about. Number 6?
Number 6, is your financial planner independent or tied to a specific insurance company? And also looking at the level of expertise. Is he a certified financial planner or just what I call a broker?
Okay.
And a broker, when you walk away from a broker, you're broker because you don't have a financial planner. He only wants to sell you products. It's ideal to work with independent people because independent financial advisors can actually look at giving you what's best in the market, not just pushing down a specific product for a specific insurance or investment house.
We're doing well in terms of, being brave enough to ask questions. What's the next ones?
Next question is, how will you as advisor be remunerated? Is it on commission? Is it on a fee that you charge? Or is it a combination of both? And I think that's one of the questions that's very important. And by law, an advisor should disclose this. This is one of the prerequisites. And unfortunately, people are sometimes too scared to talk and ask, how are you remunerated?
Yeah. We get intimidated, but that's important because it affects my investment. It also affects my premium. Am I correct?
Yep, absolutely. And sometimes we have to go and ask ourselves, what's more important? Do I want to have someone sell me a product and I think the whole time, okay, in the back of my mind, is he doing this for his pocket or for my pocket? Which sometimes it's better to say to a guy, listen, do you charge me a fee? Yes, I can afford it. Okay, but now I know you're giving me the best advice, not for your pocket, but for my circumstances.
Take us through the remaining 3, Stian.
Okay, number 8. This is specifically for people that are in a business or which are dealing with more of a network where you have maybe a banker, you might have an accountant, where I think it's really important that you work with your whole team and you have a holistic view of dealing with your finances. We have other professionals because what happens is they keep one another accountable and then they keep your best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to
Number
9.
Mm-hmm. Number 9 is how often will you look at my portfolio? Will you review my portfolio? Because people spend more time planning a holiday and a birthday party than planning their finances. And you cannot just go and say, I'm going to take 1 hour a year and review my investments. You can't. It's just not viable. You have to go and say, what's my strategy and how often am I going to review this portfolio? And then the last one, which is very, very topical at this stage, is about Two-Pot. And that question is, can they advise you on should I withdraw money from Two-Pot or not? And here I think it's very important, and I want to go back to number 1 on budgets.
Sure.
Where you say, do I have an emergency fund? Do I have a cash buffer? Because if I have cash, remember, Two-Pot is only there for people that cannot plan or is in a dire straight situation where they do not have an emergency fund. So ideally, you do not want to use that, but the advisor can help you get out of that position because Two-Pot is taxing you more than the tax that you pay to SARS or the deduction you get on your pension fund.
Oh, that's going to get a lot of people scratching their heads, and we're grateful that you were able to raise that point. I get a feeling we're going to chat to you again. Stian de Wit, Head of Financial Planning at financial advisory firm NMG Benefits. You can look them up, and maybe get advice. And we appreciate your time, and thanks a lot. Have a good evening, sir.
Thanks, evening.